afternoon from Nairobi, Kenya's capital. It's 1 p.m. and you are tuned in to The Ambassador. I am your ambassador, Paul Madenge, standing in for Ibrahim Said. This is the space where we debunk global diplomacy and geopolitics. Now to the story making headline today. It is a dark day for Kenya since 80 years old Raila Odinga, former Prime Minister of Kenya, has died in Devamad Hospital in Kerala, India today, Wednesday of October 15th, 2025. Odinga suffered a cardiac failure during his morning walk in the campus and was pronounced dead at around 9:52 a.m. Indian time. The news was confirmed by the spokesperson for the Devamad Hospital. The opposition leader has been away from Kenya for almost a week after suffering a mild stroke in Kenya. Matthew Perez has the details, but we will bring you that details later on, which is the story making headline today. And now to the next story. All the same. In Madagascar, the military has seized control of the government in the dramatic escalation of the country's ongoing political crisis. An elite army unit led by Colonel Michael announced the takeover just hours after President Adri was impeached by Parliament and reportedly fled the country. The move follows weeks of mass protest and growing unrest within the military itself. A nation now in turmoil, facing a power shift that could reshape Madagascar's political future. Here are the details.
Madagascar's political crisis. Colonel Michael Randrianirina of the elite CAPSAT unit announced that the military is taking control of the country. The move follows a parliamentary move to impeach President Andry Rajoelina, who has reportedly fled amid growing unrest and a rebellion within the armed forces.
This is very good news for us, for activists, for all Madagascans. It's incredible because 2 weeks ago we were fighting tooth and nail with the military, and today we have won. This announcement deserves a national celebration.
Speaking outside the presidential palace, Randrianirina declared the dissolution of existing government structures under the 2010 constitution, vowing to create a national reform mechanism that reflects the will of the Malagasy people.
We will take power starting today and dissolve, starting today, the Senate, the High Constitutional Court, the High Court of Justice, the High Council for the Defence of Democracy and the Rule of Law, and the Independent National Electoral Commission. There you go, the National Assembly. We let it work, we continue to work, and that's it.
He emphasized that while the presidency is suspended, the National Assembly will continue to function alongside a new transitional leadership and judicial reforms guided by the Supreme Constitutional Court. This dramatic shift comes after weeks of mass protests, driven largely by the Gen Z demonstrators demanding democratic reform.
I'm happy now. For 16 years he did nothing but cause us suffering. He was a dictator, so it is now better because the military has taken power.
Thanks a lot to the military. We are the youth and we need jobs. Because of the president, we don't have work. I'm 28 years old and I have never worked during the time of Rajoel.
I don't know much, but the military knows what it's doing.
Now, as power shifts from the presidency to a transitional regime, Madagascar stands at a crossroads between instability and the promise of a new political future. Elvis Muyodi, GBS News.
And now moving on, veteran Kenya's longest opposition leader Raila Odinga's political journey started as a one of resilience, transformation and enduring influence, a lifelong pursuit of democracy and justice that has shaped Kenya's political landscape for over 4 decades. From his early days as a reform crusader under one-party rule to his role as a statesman advocating unity and governance reforms, Odinga's leadership continues to inspire debate, loyalty and admiration rather across generations, which Kenyans will always remember forever. Here are the details.
Nobody can stop reggae. Harap mashamba na mpira. Na mpira harap mashamba. Raila Amolo Odinga.
He has been a fearless voice during the fight for multi-party democracy. Raila Odinga endured detention and political persecution, yet remained steadfast in his conviction that Kenya deserved more inclusive and democratic future. Raila Odinga has consistently placed the nation above self. His push for reforms, from constitutional reviews to devolution, has shaped the governance structure we see in the country today.
A time comes when the people and their leaders must audit the progress made towards the attainment of the goals and prayers laid out at the founding of the nation.
In 1997, he rescued the sinking boat of Kanu under the Moi regime. In 2008, after a contested election that left the country divided, Raila chose dialogue over division, joining hands with President Mwai Kibaki, and formed a grand coalition government that saw major developments in the country. He proceeded and championed for the Kenya's 2010 constitution that has profoundly brought in a shift in the development of the country.
Members of this party have placed a very great responsibility upon me to try to build this party to be a strong party that can be able to win the next general elections.
In 2018, the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga joined Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's administration, bringing the country together, making a bold gesture of reconciliation that eased political tension and reaffirmed his reputation as a bridge builder.
When such time comes, the leaders entrusted to secure the goals, in our case, justice, unity, peace, liberty, and prosperity for all, have a duty to reflect on their performance in the search for these hallowed goals. Such a time has come for Kenya. 54 years into independence, we are challenged to audit our progress towards the ideals for which our fathers fought to establish a free and independent country.
Leo ni tulisema siku ya leo ni likizo. Tulikuwa nataka kufanya maandamano ya amani ili bei ya unga irudi chini. Halo, lakini Bwana Ruto analeta askari, anapiga watu wetu, anashika watu wetu, anavunja katiba na sheria.
After the 2022 general elections, the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga agreed to work with President William Ruto under the broad-based administration.
I have been very encouraged by the number of senior government officials offering to be part of this journey out of an understanding that we are in this as Kenya and not as partisan political parties.
Beyond politics, Raila's influence has transcended borders, earning him respect as a pan-African statesman and advocate for democracy across the continent, which gave him an opportunity to unsuccessfully contesting for the Africa's chairperson.
Vile tumekutana jana, sisi wa Kenya wote, serikali ya Kenya mzima na wananchi wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, kutoka kule Uganda, kwenda Rwanda, kwenda Burundi, kwenda DRC, kwenda mpaka kule Tanzania, all the way mpaka Somalia. Sisi wote tumesema Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga awe kiongozi wa bara la Afrika mzima.
Raila Odinga, a man whose journey continues to inspire a generation, reminding the nation that leadership is not only about power, but purpose, has exited the world leaving an indelible mark that will forever be embraced by leaderships to come.
Nachukua hiyo mpira ni goalkeeper Charity Ngilu. Ameweka pale. Amepiga mpira hiyo uko mbele, kule mpira umepata Uhuru Kenyatta. Mpira. Anakaribia na Ruto lakini ameshika Ruto. Amempatia Mudavadi. Mudavadi anaenda na mpira. Mpira Mudavadi. Amecheka tena. Amempatia Kalonzo. Kalonzo msoka na mpira. Mpira Kalonzo msoka. Anaenda mpira Kalonzo. Amempatia Raila. Raila na mpira.
Davis Karani for GBS News.
Now, as Kenyans continue to mourn a statesman, a veteran politician, and a democratic reform champion, Raila Amolo Odinga, the ambassador will take a short break. We will be right back with more on the Raila's demise here at the GBS TV Africa. Stay tuned.
Talking about being a miss or being a pageant queen, it is not just about wearing a crown or looking pretty on social media. It is about how much you can impact the community. What can you do with the title you hold? I'm actually a young model in the industry. I started modeling this year in school. Actually, I used to go to International Youth Fellowship where we had a modeling class. I used to study fashion and design, and we had a modeling class. So I am high fashion trained. On Instagram, kelly.omuhaya. On TikTok, Miss Omuhaya.
Now tell us about that moment when you had your name that you won Miss Kasarani 2025-2026.
What I would like to advise you is keep going. Keep going. Put God first. Be resilient. Be a go-getter. Find joy within yourself. Walk with pride. Chin up. Smile. You are a queen. He who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. That makes me always rise, knowing that I have something that is greater than what people can see.
One of the problems of birthdays, they awaken your consciousness of your oldness. The issue of being man enough is being awakened to your immortality, so that your immortal being becomes the discussion factor that now informs the mortality. You know what to do.
Today we are talking about boy child, and we are asking a question: are you a man enough? Say, I do.
So for men to be men enough, they need to have somebody who speaks in several dimensions, speaks over them. He who walks with the wise becomes wise. So there is the issue of impartation. Speaks into them, speaks to awake them to the heroes that they are, the champions that they are. As iron sharpens iron, so another man sharpens another. So there is a deliberate awakening of the mature men.
Jina ni Coach Martin Musili. I'm a coach, as I've stated. Hii sport nilitambua since 2015-2016.
Kuna sports mingi man, but nilikutiga kwa fencing.
Kwa hii sport kuna kichele, kuna pesa kweli.
In as much as tunaiplay, tunaitumia pia kama life skills. Si shule peke yake, pia corporates. Na tunakuja tunafunza strategic thinking. It can create an avenue for a scholarship if maybe anacheza shule, a scholarship maybe anaweza advertise ile corporate.
Nini imekukeep kwa game, like ni strategy gani unatumia ya unafeel strategy ndio imenyekanga hapa, unafeel kupeleka mbali. Alafu utaniambia ni strategy gani imekumake unatumia as a player, ona ile strategy yangu inafanyanga na win game. Hata ni as a coach, ni strategy gani unaonanga hii nikitumia nasaidia player wangu kudefeat opponent wake. Requirements zangu ni nini? Nini nataka kwa fencer? What are the requirements?
All you have to be, as long as you can walk, you can move your arms and you can think on your feet. You can fence.
Ili kujua mengi, jiunge nami Omala Brian kwenye GBS TV Sports Sugu Show. This is where passion meets the game.
Welcome to the Blast Show. I will host the most, Irene Juguna.
Ndio nakwambia hapa live on the blast inakuaga ni show ya kukubamba, tunakuletea what has been going on the week na zile mambo zinaendelea, na tunakupea vibe ya kuingia weekend.
Yeah, vitegeo, mbona kimya umechange jila? Washa friend hata kama wote na wachoma ila. Remember me kwenye rap bands ni paka kufa. With the best man, wakichonga wachonge na ziba nyufa. Acha nife kwenye raft, maana wewe dawa njoo unipe tu. Nikichoka hasu na ninyosha unanipanga panga kwenye bedi tu. Mapenzi yetu kayalinde hata kama wote watachonga tu. I'm an actor, nakuwa director pia.
Director wa acting ama. So acting na music unazimerge aje pamoja, na umeact which type of ni movies ama drama ama series, na ulijua aje like unaweza act, unaweza rap?
Nimeact ni short movie, ni love short movie ambao nimeandika mimi, nikadirect mimi, hasa nikacheza pia.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to The Ambassador as we break down the development news for you and get the bigger picture on what's happening globally. And now, many world leaders are sending their condolences, including the President of India and also the chairperson of African Union and also the President of Tanzania. And the last person who have sent his last condolence is the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. We will keep you updated on the same as world leaders continue sending their condolences on the demise of Raila Amolo Odinga. And now, it's a dark day for Kenya since 80 years old Raila Amolo Odinga, former Prime Minister of Kenya, has died in Devamad Hospital in Kerala, India, today, Wednesday of October 15, 2025. Odinga suffered a cardiac failure during his morning walk in the campus and was pronounced dead at around 9:52 a.m. Indian time. The news was confirmed by the spokesperson for Devamad Hospital. The opposition leader has been away from Kenya for almost a week after suffering a mild stroke in Kenya. Madhu Perez has the details.
It has now emerged that former Prime Minister of Kenya Raila Amolo Odinga, who was at the forefront of Kenya's politics for decades and made 5 unsuccessful runs at the presidency, alleging that he was cheated of victory in every instance, has died in India due to heart attack. Raila, who had experienced a series of ill health, his family often publicly dismissing such reports, had frequently embodied a strong figure.
Tulisema wakipiga wakihesabu.
Breaking out the news of his passing on, Kenya's President William Ruto expressed his regrets to hear and released the disturbing news, saying it was untimely. He has called on the nation to calm as they mourn the death of ODM's leader. At his home in Kari, Nairobi, grief filled the atmosphere as his supporters lamented audibly. However, leaders across the world have poured out their tributes on social media platforms, describing Raila Odinga as a statesman, symbol of resistance, hope and transformation. The longest-serving member of Parliament of Langata from 1992 to 2013, who was born in January 1945 for years, was the talk of Kenya's politics, traveled the nation's political scene like a colossus, carrying with him different tags. To others, a champion for reforms, a hero, a social democrat, and an enigma. And to some, the people's president. His legacy will continue to shape Kenya's political arena and democratic path. Matthew Perez for GBS News.
Amegongwa na gari. Nani amemgonga? Hajulikani.
The story develop. We will continue bringing you the more on Raila's demise. And now, the World Food Programme has begun scaling up its operation in Gaza following a recent ceasefire, paving the way for crucial humanitarian access to communities long cut off from aid. The UN agency says it aims to feed over 1.6 million people in the coming months, as food system across the strip remains shattered by years of conflict. Here are the details.
Since the ceasefire began on October 11, the World Food Programme has dispatched over 137 trucks carrying 1,554 metric tons of food assistance into Gaza. The aid supports bakeries, nutrition programs, and general food distribution, offering much-needed relief to families struggling after 2 years of devastating conflict. The number of supported bakeries will rise from 10 to 30, boosting daily bread production to 100,000 bundles of vulnerable communities. Nutritional support for pregnant and breastfeeding women is also being expanded, while digital payments are helping residents buy food locally. 140,000 people have already benefited, with plans to double that reach soon. Currently, over 170,000 metric tons of food commodities are ready for dispatch through Ashdod, Egypt, Jordan, and the West Bank corridors, enough to feed Gaza's entire population for 3 months. WFP says with full access, it plans to restore regular food distribution through 145 centers across Gaza, feeding up to 1.6 million people, or about 320,000 families, with essentials like bread, wheat flour, and family food parcels. However, WFP stresses that sustained access, forced support clearances, and security are vital to deliver aid efficiently. As WFP wraps up its response, it calls on all parties to uphold the ceasefire to ensure law and order inside Gaza so that the humanitarian operation can continue safely and at scale.
With the ceasefire now taking effect, the World Food Programme is now scaling up humanitarian aid rapidly. Our goal is simple. We need to flood Gaza with food and as quickly as possible. Hopefully, we will get in a lot more trucks every single day, transporting food parcels, wheat flour, and nutrition supplies. As the leading UN agencies in logistics, the World Food Programme will also support the entire humanitarian community so they can also deliver the assistance Gaza so desperately needs.
Reporting for GBS TV, I'm Paul.
And now on Raila's demise. Now the president of Kenya is preparing to address the nation on Raila's demise at his home yard. Now we will bring you the development news on the same to our next bulletin, or even in our social media handles. Now that's how we wrap up today's edition of The Ambassador. I have been your ambassador, Paul Madenge. It has been great having you here at GBS TV Africa. Stay tuned for the update throughout the day, and be sure to join me every day as we continue to debunk global diplomacy and geopolitics. Thank you for your time and company. Until then, goodbye.